מאמר י"ח פרק ב' 267. So it's probably one of the most fascinating, הנושא הכי מרתק בחסידות. One of the most fascinating, it sounds very abstract, but one of the most fascinating subject in Chassidut. That we're going to 267. We're going to bring down to understanding and tangible understanding of it tonight, Bezrat Hashem. And this is the question we had from the beginning. What is the purpose? Why is it that we need, that we must have severity, discipline, restrictions, calculations? Everything comes from Hashem. Hashem is infinite. Also, Hashem is considered to be chesed. Chesed Hashem. And chesed is tov. En ra yored milmala. There's only good from Hashem. Teva hatov, lehetiv. The nature of good is to do good. So Hashem only wants to do good. Ki chafetz chesed hu. He desires good. For someone who desires good, there's a lot of non-good around. We see a lot of non-good, a lot of restrictions, a lot of discipline, a lot of severity, a lot of concealment. And number one is, why do we need that? And number two, is it something that is blocking? Is it an obstacle to the revelation of God? Is it like Hashem wants to shine His infinite light, but there is a curtain blocking? Or is it part of what Hashem wants initially? Is it meant to be like that? Or it's a technical problem that we need to solve, we need to remove? Let's go a drop deeper. Darkness. Is darkness an existence for itself? Does darkness exist? What did you say? I didn't hear. Darkness is absence of light. Like when the light goes off.
But we say where
right?
it is.
So you did not answer yet. You're saying okay, very good. You're quoting sources right now, which is very interesting. I mean, I don't know the source of darkness is the absence of light. Does it say somewhere? Besides on the internet. You're making a point. I like it. So you have to, yeah. And do we actually? Okay. You could say. No. No, it's a good no. What it says, a very good point. It says, ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום ולחושך קרא לילה. חושך זה משהו. או שאפשר להגיד, מה זה חושך? כשהשמש שוקע. The sun is on the other side, so you can't see, so it's called darkness.
אם לא יהיה חושך, לא יהיה לאור מלא.
You heard? If there is no existence of darkness, what is light?
If there is no somebody that can take, how I'm going to keep?
כי בלתי המקבל מתאבד כל פעולת המשפיע. Where is this?
4 weeks ago.
Very good, but it's in the Bar Mitzvah Ma'amar.
Yeah.
בלתי המקבל מתאבד כל פעולת המשפיע. If there is no receiver, there's no giver. You're right, we had a long discussion about this, very good. So that's the question here. What I'm pushing it a drop further. Is the metziut of choshech, the existence of darkness, is it part of what Hashem wants, or is it something, a technical thing, like, you don't have a charger, you don't have enough light, so because of that, there is darkness. The absence of light creates darkness. So, we tend to say that darkness is not a real existence, it's a nisayon, it's a challenge, it's a test, and as soon as you bring in light, you dissipate, you chase away. Yeah, but is the nisayon a real thing? If I close my eyes now and I say it's dark in this room, is it dark in the room or it's not dark in the room? Is the darkness a real existence, or I'm putting something on my face and I'm unable to see the light? Okay, so let's look inside. I want to read from the inside, and then you'll tell me what are you getting from there. Okay? You guys can look together. והנה, okay. שורש ההמשכה שנמשך בספירת המלכות מכתר מלכות בראש השנה, we read this already before, שהוא האור והחיות מבחינת חסד דעתיק שנמשך מבחינת מלכות. So we have חסד דעתיק. You know what חסד דעתיק? The highest level of abundance of revelation. Because chesed, we said, is the idea of giving, of sharing, of spreading. That's why the first day of creation was Yom Rishon is chesed. Okay? That's why Vayomer Elokim Yehi, or, okay, Hashem said, let there be light, because the first step of creation was light. Okay? So, Chesed De'atik is Chesed from the highest level, from Keter, from the highest level, which is above creation, that Hashem wants to spread and shine upon us. And that's what He sets and allocates in the beginning of the year. A new light. Unfortunately, for some reason, this light has to go through this light, it's a very global, abstract light. And it's not yet allocated. It's not yet divided. It's not yet separated. It's not specified. Right? So because it is not divided, allocated, and specified, it has no final destination. Right? The only way you can make sure that this immense amount of energy and light will end up somewhere is if you target something specific. You allocate, you limit, you restrict the mass power of the light, and you allow it to infiltrate, to penetrate a specific target, vessel, destination. All right? So, can you give the example of a bullet? What's a bullet? A bullet or any bomb, I mean, not a bomb, a bullet or a missile, it's a lot of energy, powerful energy. What makes the explosion is the fact that it's so concentrated, so compact, onto a very, 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 very specific target. So the more tzimtzum you put into it, the more the energy is going to hit the target. What enables it to hit the target is the pressure of restricting it. So that's here we're talking usually a bullet is to hit something. We're talking here anything, any shefa, any type of energy that needs to be, I call this allocated, needs to reach a certain destination. If it's not allocated properly, if it's not aimed properly and adapted to the destination, it won't get there. So Rosh Hashanah Hashem gives a massive amount of chesed from Atik, from Keter, Pnimiut HaKeter, from above. Atik is ne'etak me'olam. Atik yomin ne'etak me'ayamim. המלך המרומם לבדו מאז המרומם והמתנשא ממות עולם. He's above the world. And we ask him, אלוקי עולם ברחמך רבים רחמנו, bring upon us this infinite kindness of yours. Now, in order for that kindness to reach, we need זהו על ידי בחינת 5 גבורות דעתיק. In Atik already there, that's very interesting. In the same base, in the same headquarter, where Chesed is stored, where Chesed is home, there is also 5 גבורות דעתיק. 5 measures of severity, and the purpose is שהם המחלקים את החסד, they're going to divide it לחלקים. And then what happens? שעל ידי זה יתקיים עיקר אמיתת החסד. The true chesed is not, the true wealth is not how much you have in your bank account. True chesed is how much choices can you make in your life. How can you spend, how many options do you have to spend your cash, to spend your money? A person who has so much money in the bank account, but let's say he's in prison, it doesn't help. There's a billionaire sitting in prison. He has no ability to okay? Someone who, so what gives kindness its real purpose is when you're able to divide it and apply it to a specific purpose. All right? שעל ידי זה יתקיים עיקר אמיתת החסד, שעל ידי זה יוכלו הנבראים לקבל את החסד. That's the only way that Nivraim creatures will be able to receive the kindness from Hashem. Otherwise it's too big and there's no way that it can enter in that cup. Yeah. So the bottle is big, but you need the top needs to be narrow in order to be able to pour from it to a reasonable, measured vessel, receptacle. Okay? Okay, inyan gevurot geshamim. Just like rain. We spoke about it last time. What's rain? Rain is water. God, Hashem, has a commitment to provide water for the universe. Otherwise, within days, there is no more universe. Every creature on earth needs water. Okay? So, how is rain called in the Torah? Gvurot Gshamim. Mighty rains. Why? Because b'derech klal, זה יורד בגבורה. It falls in a strong flow. But really, first of all, not always. And also, I would say that waterfalls are much more gvura than rain. It falls very hard. Why is the Gshamim called Gvurot Gshamim? In the first Mishnah of the Masechet Ta'anit that discusses the obligation to fast, if God forbid there is a drought and there's no more rain coming down, there's an obligation to fast, to ask to implore Hashem to give rain. The first Mishnah starts, Me'matay mazkirin gevurot geshamim. When do we start asking for rain? It says, how do you ask for rain? When you start mentioning rain in your prayer, Mashiv haruach morid hageshem. Right? When do you start? So it says over there, Gvurot Geshamim. When do you start asking for the mighty rains? What's the mighty rains? So according to what we said, we understand. You know how rain falls? Drops. It's not like pouring a bottle. There's I think the Gemara discusses Eov praising God and saying that Hashem doesn't even blend, it doesn't mix 2 drops of rain. So it's a tremendous power of separation, of targeting, of aiming that Hashem does. So really, Gishamim be'atzmam ze chesed. Rain itself is kindness, is abundance. Yeah? Ma'im matzmichim kol minei ta'anug. Water is the source of all pleasures. But in order for the water to penetrate the earth, and then to enable the earth to grow all the produce, it needs to be very, very, very slightly separated and divided. And that's Gvurot Gshamim. Sheyordim b'gvura, shemitchalkim tipin, that they divide into small drops. וזהו תכלית ואמיתית החסד. This is the ultimate kindness. The ultimate kindness is not that you have $100 bill. It's that you can break $100 bill into single dollars and give out 100 people something. Because $100 itself doesn't yet reach its purpose properly. Unless you have 100 bills of $100. And then you give everyone $100. בעזרת השם. וזהו תכלית ואמיתית החסד שעל ידי זה דווקא, through this extreme separation that Hashem applies to the rain, then the rain falls down properly, והרווה את הארץ, and waters the earth, והולידה והצמיחה. And then it can produce. We're going to find the same formula exists in a person, in our personal human structure. וכן בכוחות הנפש באדם, we have what we are considered min המדבר. You know why? Because most of us do not know how to listen. When someone comes to you for advice, what do? You start giving you 2 cents. And most people, what they need is just someone to listen. Right? So that's what we call mina medaber. We speak non-stop. And we speak nonsense. But we speak. Okay? So that's called a medaber. And sometimes we need to become a listener. That's a higher level. But basic human level is considered medaber. Because animals don't speak. It's interesting. It says shomea ke'oneh. Someone shomea ke'oneh. If you hear the bracha from someone, it's as if you made the bracha yourself. So someone can say a bracha if you say amen. It's as if you heard the bracha, you said the bracha yourself. Maybe we can say that if you listen, it's as if you answered the person. Shomea ke'oneh. If you listen to the person, you already gave half of the, or more than half of the solution and the answer. Most of the time, someone wants to complain to you, doesn't want a solution. Wants you to hear how distressed they are and want to feel that they're not alone. Because the fact that we are mina medaber implies one thing very important that people ignore. You know what it is? A human being cannot be alone. There's no one to speak to if you're alone. Medaber implies this is a fellow. All right? Now, how does speech, how does dibur emerges? How does speech emerges? So let's start from the beginning. Akol yotze, sound comes from hevel halev. Sound is first air that comes out from the lungs, from the heart, which is a kol pashut. Ah. Now, is not a kol pashut. That's hevel. Hevel is, right? Take the example also of creating sound. How do you create sound? Blowing into a tube doesn't create sound. You know that. If you blow into a tube, we don't have one right here. If you go, you're going to blow air through the tube. If you tie up the air into the tube and go, then the sound's going to come out. Okay? So pure air coming out of the lungs and the heart isn't yet creating any sound. But that's how it starts. Then you need to apply pressure. That's the The pressure on the air brings out a sound. Okay? Until there, even animals can do that. Right? Animals don't have vocal cords, but they have a throat and they have air. So they can blow and tie up their muscle and they can make a sound. Okay? A parrot. Does a parrot have vocal cords? He has a very strong larynx muscle. No vocal cords. So he's able to The vocal cords help us make the movement that allow us to create so much,
Okay.
yeah, variable sounds. The parrot doesn't have that. It's just a very strong muscle, so it's able to play with that muscle. Did you ever try to play a song with the trumpet? If you take a clarinet or a flute, it has a lot of keys, a lot of buttons. That's pretty fair. But there's some of them. The trumpet has 3. So 3 keys and you can play all songs. It's the amount of air and how much you press and how many together that will. Yeah, I charge for lessons. Anyways, so the birds who make sound, they're able to work on that muscle, but they're not considered. Tzipora medaberet, a parrot, perroquet, is not considered medaber, speaking. It's copying sound. That's the best it can do. It cannot have a communication. It has memory and copying sound, which is pretty impressive, right? But not more than that. A parrot is not using letters, not using words. It's not considered words. He's capable of creating very good sound, more accurate sound. I was going into the example. If you take a shofar, you blow a shofar creates one sound. It could be a higher pitch or lower pitch, but it's one. You can't play music. Did you ever try to play music, to play a song with a shofar? So there's a limit to the way you do it. You can do some, but that's not an instrument. Nobody plays. Yeah.
Listen, you never hear emotion in a parrot, because it's
Yeah. I mean, you will hear emotions if he's replicating emotions from someone crying. and then he's gonna go. Yeah, just because you're laughing, so he's laughing. He's replicating emotions. Okay, that's called celebrities, actors. They're in the movie. You watch the movie, you cry for real, but they're acting, right? You get anxiety when you see the guns, right? Because he's going to kill him, but it's a movie. There's nothing real out there. Anyways, it's like you're watching the movie and you know that the main actor of the movie is never die. But when you see the fight, you're still afraid for the guy. He might actually die. But you know it's not true. But you get real emotions. The disaster of movies, you get real emotions for something completely unreal.
the power of the story.
Yeah, but that's much. No. A story is very different. A story is the ability to read something, and you play it in your mind the way your mind says it.
Inception.
The image is stealing away from you your imagination, imposing on you one version that will shape your mindset. That's what television, that's what imagery does. Whether it's movies, whether it's magazines, whether it's sports and games, whether it's team games. Like you pretend playing box. Same thing, like those video games. Same thing. You feel, you know you're playing, but you're really fighting at it, and you feel you're doing it, and you're not doing anything. No, but you understand, it's a very important thing for kids. It's a disaster. It's a tragedy. So that was just we're talking about dibur. Dibur emerges from air. Sound comes from the pressure on the air. And then we have what we call letters. How do we make letters? Speech starts from air. Sound is from the pressure of the air that creates sound. And then the next step, what creates speech, is the letters on top of the sound. So what is the structure of the letters? Like where do they come from? What is it? So hey motzaot apeh. There's 5 categories, 5 types of letters. Otiyot gronot from the throat. There is from the chech, the palate, from the tongue, from the teeth, and from the lips. And there are 5 types of letter. So we find again the 5. Remember we said there's 5 gvurot? The 5 gvurot are the hemotzot ape. Why? Because compare the air and the sound to chesed, just expressing out, sharing sound, but without the ability to shake this sound, you make no sense. Right? When someone comes back from the dentist and they're like, the motzaot aper, they're like, you make noise like, stomach aper, לא שומעים כלום, לא מבינים. Right? You can't. You have, so the shape of the letters creates speech. Now, again, which is chesed, which is gvura? The sound is chesed, because you're expressing something from within to the outside, to your fellow. But the ability to shape those sounds is the gvura. Now, what gives the ability to make from letters words? What makes from letters words?
The brain.
When you type.
The space bar.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, come late. I'm coming.
The space part. What is the space? It's another type of gvura. It's a pause. End it here. No more. It's called in Hebrew.
That's not though.
No. It's called in Hebrew otiyot sofiot. Mem, nun, mem, sofit. It's the same letter, but because it's at the end of the word,
Indicates a new word.
indicates it's the end. It's the od gvura, od tzimtzum. It's a stop. Mem, nun, tzadik, pei, chaf. This is the source of all the gvura, the ability to make a space. Like, what's the word? Okay, so, you know, you play Scrabble, you play Rummikub, and you play all these names. You can, how many letters do you need to create a word? Minimum. 2. Okay. How many words can you compose with 2 letters? With 2 letters, you can create up to 2 words. With 3 letters, you can make up to 9 formulas, but you will have maximum of 6 words. Not all formulas create words. I can verify this, but the reason is, and the rule, it's all in Sefer Yetzirah, by the way. But the rule is that over there, that there is the ikar, the main formula, and the tafel formula, the secondary formula. But you know, sometimes I don't know how these games. There's like a how do you call those games of mixed? I forgot how it's called.
Describe it.
Like you have letters all over, and you need to find not in order. Yeah. There's different types. I'm not sure. I'm not very good at the names. I just thought of a word. Yet. Y-E-T. Right? Now if I do T-E-Y, it's not a word.
Yes, it's not.
Right? If I do E-Y-T, there's chances I can find some language, but there isn't. So it's not, but English is not a good example. If you take Hebrew, Hebrew, which is not a name. By the way, Hebrew is not the name of the language. You know what's the name of the language? Lashon Kodesh.
Exactly.
Lashon Kodesh is Hashem's tongue, is Hashem's language, and Hashem's vocabulary, how He revealed Himself to us through the Torah. So there, everything makes sense. For example, the otiyot gronot, when you say them, they come from the garon. And how do you say throat in Hebrew? Garon. Garon you need to feel the throat when you say garon. Say, how do you say tongue in Hebrew? Lashon. Lashon. The tongue is moving. How do you say tongue in English? Tongue. You don't feel the tongue.
There's a shinai.
Shinaim. Shinaim. Sfataim. Okay?
Pet.
Yeah. Biduk. Well, no, everybody knows, even the most secular Hebrew teacher knows that. Because this is the language that creates. Okay? I remember our teacher telling us that, how do you say a drop in Hebrew? Tipa. A drop. Why? Because when it drips, it goes like tip, tip. Now, we have the 5 types of letters. We said throat, palate, tongue, teeth, and lips. Okay? And we have the 5 final letters, otiyot sofiot, that separate and create words. So all of that is pure what? Gvura, structure, limitations. It's pure limitations. But this is what enables you to express. You want to tell someone, I love you, you're going to use a lot of gvura to get that word out. You got to be verbal, right? Or sometimes we like to say, she knows I love her. It's not enough. The chesed, amitat chesed, is when you put in the gvura and it comes at tipin. That's why I don't recommend to say too much I love you. Like tipin, drop. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was just a joke. Yeah. Anyways, so back inside the text, the 2 lines we're reading now. וכן בכוחות הנפש באדם דהכל היוצא מהבל הלב. The sound comes from the air. וקול פשוט, it's a simple plain sound. But then מתחלק לאותיות ב5 מוצאות הפה. Then it's divided into letters, into the 5 types of letters that we just discussed. א' ח' ה' עין מהגרון, ג' י' כ' ק' מהחך, etc. והיינו, what enables those letters to take a certain shape and form? ועל ידי 5 גבורות מנצפח. What's מנצפח? מקור הדיבור. The source of dibur, of speech, is what? The ability to put a space. The fact that you have a keyboard where you can type is because you can do a space. Otherwise, your screen would be nonsense. So the mem nun tzadik pechaf, which has the otiyot sofiot, the final letters that mark the end of a word, is the source of speech to begin with. Because speech by default is more stopping the air than expressing something. The air is plain, right? The way you press on the air, the way you shape the air and the sound, that's the letter you're going to have. That's the ability to stop whatever mass of energy that you have. You have a mass of energy, that's the hevel akol, that's the sound, and then you shape it. Okay? So that's gvurot. We're going to take another example. David HaMelech said, Kos Yeshuot Esa. The cup of Yeshuot, of salvation, Esa, I will raise. How do you raise a cup? So says the Zohar the following. Kos Shel Bracha. When a person takes a glass of wine, and everything has to do with wine at the end of the day. We know that. I mean, not only at the end of the day, even at the beginning of the day. Right? So, that's why, and by the way, you'll see how much in Chabad we're very careful. First of all, we don't use a cup that has a stem when you do Kiddush. And also, we don't do like the fancy rabbis. Savri Maranan, no. Kos Yeshuot Esa. Says the Zohar the following. Okay? I'm doing it with my left hand because I'm lefty and Torah considers my left hand my right hand. Because right means strong. My strong hand is my left hand. But I'm a lefty. So Kos Yeshuot Esa. Itztarich. Kos Shel Bracha Itztarich lemevel 5 etzbaim. Kos Shel Bracha needs to be put on 5 fingers. Uvor sham, it's explained over there, Shen Prinat 5 Gvurot. The 5 fingers correspond to the same 5 Gvurot, the 5 measures. Vehem davka nikrau Yeshuot. So there's a problem here. There are Gvurot, 5 Gvurot, limitations, severities, yet they are considered salvation. Yeshuot. Contradictory. Uke omro, and like it says over there, the inul chamesh, ikrin Yeshuot. And those 5 fingers, those 5 gvurot are called also Yeshuot. ועיין שם בפירוש הרמז, רבי משה זקות, שהם 5 גבורות הנמשכות מיסוד העתיק. So he's explaining why now. Look at this. Turn the page, 269. וזהו שנקראו 5 גבורות, 5 אצבעות. This is why the 5 gvurot, 5 severities are called the 5 fingers. You remember we spoke about this a month ago? 5 fingers. We explained that without splitting the hand into 5 fingers, the hand, which is the source of giving, will not have the ability to, won't be able to slap. You're right. Yeah. Real kindness is done with the fingers. So we gave the example back then. You remember we said that what distinguishes humans from animals, again, is the 5 fingers. Okay, so some animals, we said, do have fingers, but they don't have the ability to, we haven't seen any monkey playing Xbox so far. I doubt that animals can play music. Music is also another human unique creation. Yeah. No, Perek Shira. The animals sing to Hashem their way, but they're not, no melodies, no harmony. Right? Remember we said that we didn't find any lion kingdom that built a crunch fitness for the lions to go in the morning and train, or that created cars for lions instead of running after the deers. Just drive a fancy car and get there. Yeah, or guns. They still have to do it with their teeth. They don't have dentists. They don't have doctors. They don't have hospitals. Remember what we said? Animals didn't manage to create yet schools. Right?
Schools and
And-
plumbing
and-
for
And
buildings.
even when you build schools for the animals, what do they do in there?
They poop.
They bring the animals in there and they shoot from there. It's called onra. No?
You're disrespecting animals.
It's called, yes. But it's the kingdom of animals. They're animals. The world comes to animals, say like, we're going to teach you how to behave like humans, but they don't want their animals. So, yeah, of course. So the United Nations, who is in charge of bringing goodness to the world, builds schools for animals. But what do the animals do? They don't want schools. So inside the schools, they have the schools. They behave like animals. They shoot and kill their own people there. So animals aren't able to perform what human beings are meant to perform. Human beings have the ability to behave like animals. That's why when a human being behaves like an animal, he's lower than an animal. Can't blame an animal for being an animal. So let's finish this up. What's with the 5 fingers? So it says like this. דכמו על דרך משל היד, the hand. הנה קודם התחלקותה ל5 אצבעות. Before the hand gets divided into 5 fingers, it's a palm. It's a flat palm. Okay? הרי הכוח כלול בה ביחד בלי התחלקות. Let's say someone is down to play music, or someone is down to sew. Okay? וכשמתחלק לאצבעות, the only way you can apply your kindness of playing music or sewing something or a surgeon do surgery on someone is the fingers. So the fingers itself, כל אצבע, and each finger, by the way, has its own utility. And the Gemara goes on and discusses. שיהיה לכל אצבע כוח פרטי מצומצם. Each finger has its and there's a reason why it's one is higher than the other, one is shorter, one folds this way, one folds that way, and one falls in 3. What each one can do that the other one cannot do. זו זרד וזו קמיצה, כדאיתה בגמרא. לכל חדה וחדה למילתא אבידתא. Like it says in Gemara Ketubot, that each one is made for a specific purpose. I looked up in the Gemara, not good enough, I guess, because I didn't see over there the description of the specificities of each finger yet. There's a source, yes, Ketubot Hey, Aleph, Vesham, Rashi, but I didn't see it there. But I remember hearing that technically each finger has a unique purpose, and whatever work you're training on, whether it's typing or anything with fingers, it all depends on how you're doing, like how you're holding the thing. No, like sometimes it might seem easier to hold the pen one way, but like if you start wrong, you won't be able to get to the end. It's like if you're playing piano and you play with your hands like this because it's easier for you because it's so hard. Eventually, if you're not putting your 5 fingers of each hand the way they're supposed to be on a piano in order to reach all the keys and flow properly, you won't be able to play piano. It's easier now. It might be very painful in the beginning to play the right position. Your muscles are going to hurt, the tendons are going to hurt, but eventually each finger has its way of playing that is unique to it. החמישה גבורות אלו, you can look at it as גבורה. You cut the hand, you slice the hand, you chop the hand into 5. But really, הן אמיתת החסד. שהרי היד, אם לא היה בה חילוק האצבעות, and we know some people who are born, or God forbid, are injured and lose a finger, or חס ושלום, a full hand, they become extremely disabled, extremely limited. אם לא היה בה חילוק האצבעות, לא היה יכול לעשות בה מלאכה ופעולה, ולא לכתוב שכל פעולות אלו, all those actions are being done through דווקא על ידי האצבעות. נמצא. What comes out of this? שהגם שהיד עצמה היא כללות הכוח, even though the hand itself is the general force of giving, of performing, of doing, of creating, but what actually gives the power to the hand to do, מכל מקום, אם לא על ידי החמישה גבורות דחילוק האצבעות, if not the 5 fingers, לא היה יכול להיות פעולה והשפעה בשם מכוח שביד. The hand would have not been able to fulfill its action. ואם כן, הרי חמישה גבורות אלו הן שלמות פעולת החסד. They are the perfection, the completion of ultimate kindness. So, precision, restriction, discipline, severity is ultimate kindness. It must go through this in order to reach its destination. וזהו עניין מה שנקראו גבורות הנ"ל בשם ישועות. וזהו גם כן שכוס של ברכה צריך יותר 5 אצבעות דווקא. ומכל שכן מבחינת עתיק, שהחמישה גבורות דשם, גבורה מבחינת עתיק, we're talking about the source of all abundance, of all kindness that Hashem is giving to us every single year on Rosh Hashanah. A new light. That new light, if you don't apply to it, the חמישה גבורות, the structure, the discipline, just like for speech, just like for rain, just like for the hand, eventually it won't be able to reach its place, its destination. That's why we need the חמישה גבורות, and they are completely blended and unified with the kindness. The gvura is unified with the kindness. It's a chesed sheba gvura. A gvura sheba chesed. It's the gvura for the chesed. Why? You know that Hashem has 2 hands, right? But he doesn't have a left hand. He has 2 right hands. Pretty cool, no? See, double. Hashem has 2 right hands. What does that mean? Even his left hand is called Yemincha Hashem. Nedari. And then the other one says, Yemincha Hashem Tirat Soyev. Even when Hashem crushes enemies, it's done with the right hand. The second right hand. Why? There's no real negativity above by Hashem. Because even the forces of severity are not negativity. They are Yemincha Hashem. They're also part of the Yemin, of the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The only way you can resolve severity is when you reveal the source. It sounds very interesting, very abstract. What does that mean? Very short, very briefly, it means that when you see severity, it means that something, we're going to call this a setback, a disappointment, resistance. That's gvurot. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with this. Not only deal with this, there is something in that darkness that Hashem is expecting you to go and grab. Don't run away from it. Bo el paro. Enter paro. Don't say lech le paro. Don't say go to paro. You want to go out of Mitzrayim? Face Pharaoh first. Hashem tells Moshe, bo el paro. Moshe is scared. And the Zohar says Hashem had to take Moshe with him because Moshe was scared. Because when you face your own demons, and there you're going to find light. And what's the light? The light is not a new light that's coming from outside because darkness does not exist. Darkness does exist. You know what is darkness? It's called contrast. If you have only white, you cannot paint anything. What's a painting? It's the contrast of the black on top of the white. What's a letter? Is the letter the black? You write in the Torah, yeah? Is the letter the black? Or is the letter the white?
Black.
And the white. That's why two letters are not allowed to touch each other. Because what creates a letter is the shape of the letter. What creates the shape of the letter? You put black ink, only to a certain extent. And the contrast between the black and the white is giving you a letter. So you cannot have chesed without gvura. You cannot have gvura without chesed. You cannot have light without darkness. You cannot have darkness without... Both forces come from Hashem. And both of them have a purpose. When you only see darkness and you want to bring light into darkness, it means you need to shape a letter. Push away some of the darkness, but that part of darkness that you trying to resent and reject has some light to show you that you couldn't see before. So during Ne'ilah, that's what we're trying to understand. During Ne'ilah, it says the revelation of the Chamisha Gvurot. Chamisha Gvurot during Ne'ilah? Yeah, guess what? Because now it's the time to seal all the allocations of abundance that Hashem is giving to us for the year. We need to make sure that it's going to be applied and tangible. And that's only through Gvurah. So, it says Torah was giving Mimino Esh Dat Lamo. It's like a fire. So the Midrash says it's Esh Choral Gabe Esh Levana. There's a white fire and a dark fire. Can fire be dark? You know what the Zohar says? The source of Gvurah is called Butzina de Kardunita. Kadronita. Albish Shamayim Kderot. Kderot is the darkness of the pot, because it's burnt. So we have very dark skies, which will mean dark days are going to come, Hashem is saying. Okay? Butzina de Kardonita says as well like this. There's two types of candles above. There's a candle of light and a candle of darkness. One candle dissipates, shines light. One candle shines darkness. A candle of darkness? It's very interesting. No. Both forces, it's the koach, the infinite force of Hashem also includes in it a force to be finite. Because if Hashem's infinity is limited and restricted to being unable to stop himself, to contain himself, then he's limited. He's unable to stop. If the car doesn't have any brakes, it can go very fast, but it has a problem, no balance. What's the secret for how do you call a pilot of F1? Yeah, Formula One. It's not just pressing on gas. It's the ability to the proper dosage of gas and brake. Right? How you take the no?
It's much more than that.
Obviously, I don't want to give all the tips now because don't try this at home.
You know they have like 40 buttons on the...
Of course, but the dynamic is two forces. One is speed, one is brake.
clutch.
Still speed and brake. It's one force. The clutch takes away the ability to speed up.
Yeah.
It lets the motor spin freely instead of connecting.
Because you don't want to slow the motor. Because you don't want to slow the motor, but you need to reduce the speed. So it's all mechanism and techniques to balance the forces. It's not only one force. ואף על פי כן נקרא החמישה גבורות שבהן ועל ידן נמשך שלמות פעולת החסדים שתתחלק השפע בכדי שתוכל להתקבל על הנבראים ועל ידי זה נמשך החסד לכל אחד ואחד מהנבראים בפרט. This is the only way that the kindness that Hashem is allocating for the universe and for Jewish people, the only way for his children, the only way that the kindness and abundance can reach its destination if you apply force and restriction to it. So, just to sum this up, one of the biggest, we asked in the beginning, what is darkness? Is darkness the absence of light? Is darkness a true existence? And you said Hashem created la choshech, karalei la choshech is an existence. What kind of existence? It's the contrast of the light. In order for you to appreciate light, in order for you to see the light, you need to have a darkness, like Kuti said before. But then we said even further, you have darkness in the light and light in the darkness. Why? Because what's a letter? It's the ink and the shape around it.
Infinite light will blind you.
Yes,
That's dark.
too much light or too much light. It's a bad. So by Hashem, Gvura is not opposition to his existence. When Hashem concealed himself from us, it's not because there's a technical problem. That's part of him desiring to reveal himself to us properly and make sure we can receive it. So, two things to learn from this. Number one, we said when we encounter darkness, there is light there. It can't be that the darkness comes from a different source that is not divine. That's not the Jewish way of thinking. Because nothing exists outside of Hashem. It's all part of it. But then there's even a deeper implication to this, to what we learned. Limitations. Does Hashem really care if I miss the Zman of Shema from 1 minute? Is it such a big deal? Someone is loving Hashem so much and felt he wants to put on tefillin, but it's already after Shkia. He's going to put on tefillin. He missed the mitzvah. If someone touches a candle on Shabbat, you're going to stone him? If someone eats kezait of food on Yom Kippur, you're going to kill him? If the tefillin are not in the right place, it's as if you didn't do anything. And they have to be exactly here. The whole Judaism has so much restriction, so much details. And you're like, the infinite God cares about that. The rabbis made it up. Right? And the peot, it has to be like this. If you do too much, it's also, you're not a cut, not a shape. And the nida, this color, that color, 1 day before, 1 minute after Shkia, you missed the day. After Shkia, she can go to the mikveh. Before that, she can't go. Does it really matter? She's doing it. She's going to the mikveh. Not the exact time. Big deal. Right? So before technology, all of that was a real question. Today we know technology is all about precision. If you miss one tiny slight detail in the coding, your story your plan, your strategy, your formula is out. Everything is in the tiny details. To be able to have this infinite power of technology operate properly, it's all in the tiny, smallest details. Why? That's the force of it. Because it's infinite. The way to tap into infinite is when you tune in to his frequency. Because we're limited, we need the ability to tune into his frequency in order to be able to tap into the infinite. So, something like, does Hashem really care? Yes, he cares very much about the details. L'chaim.